Hi gang, this is John McCririck and I want to welcome you to episode episode 4 of the Ask Big Mac show. Now before I get started, I say it again, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's it, YouTube channel. So Booby, let's get on with the show. And the first question, and I don't want any sort of interrogative ones that I've got to test my brain power. So make this a really simple one for me. Make it easy. Come on, Booby.
This is from Leslie Bloomfield from Facebook.
Go on, Leslie. Make it easy, Leslie.
You have a magic wand.
Yeah, there we are. There's my magic wand, yes.
What one thing would you magic to attract more of the public to go racing, and which course would you recommend they go to first?
Well, I certainly, if I had my magic wand, all right, money would come into it. And what I'd like to do, I think everyone under 21 and pensioners or senior citizens, whatever they call people like that, and of course I haven't reached that age yet, so if I did, I'd benefit from it, should be let in free. Obviously, you wouldn't be at the very big meetings in all the enclosures. So at Rod Ascot and at Cheltenham and those kind of places, you would have to drop the concessions for certain days and all that sort of thing. But in the end, let's get more people on the course. The under 21s, they're the people we've got to try and bring in. So letting them in free. It's easy for me to say, I'm not running a race course. Financially, it's not very viable to do it. So I'm saying I've got my wand. I could enforce my preferences. But to bring people to come racing, let's get them when they're young. And the older people who've probably been racing all their lives and things are very hard financially for many of them, to really let them come in free. So that would be the suggestion. I know courses do have certain concessions for younger people, and for older people they go half price and all that sort of thing. So the more we can look to that to make it financially viable to come racing, better for everyone. There's not an empty stands. And of course they do gain some money back because the younger people drink and the older people drink and eat and all that kind of thing. So that helps. So that's certainly one thing I would bring in. And I'll bring in the old chestnut I keep on going on. You go racing, let's bring the whole show to everybody who comes racing. And I use this argument, and I've done it on the Ask Big Mac show, and I've done it so often before. If you go to the theatre, they change the scene. They don't jump. You don't have to jump out of your seat and go wandering off and go half a mile away to see the next scene. They bring the scene to you. They bring the show to you. You're there. Now in racing, one of the great advantages is you can walk about, perambulate around the racecourse. That wouldn't stop at all if you put the paddock in front of the stands and then the whole show of the horses parading round, being jocked up. I'd have the weighing of jockeys in and out right in front of the stands so people can see everything. The horses going down, the race itself coming back, the unsaddling, the presentations, all the shrieking and screaming, all brought to everybody. You shouldn't have to walk for a long way. Some of the old and the fat people, and I don't include myself in that category, of course not, but those kind of people, it's difficult for them to get about. So virtually all courses could do it. Make an exception, Goodwood, for instance. They couldn't have the paddock in front of the stands because you fall over the cliff, by the winning post of the cliff down there, so that would be impossible. But nearly every course certainly could, and it's absolutely the all-weather courses. What are they doing? I begged ATR, the all-weather, that Lingfield Friday meeting, the Good Friday meeting, which is their sort of wrap-up of their season, and all the presentations and the big prize money. Huge success at Lingfield, because when they bring the horses back, the horses come back in front of the stands and people can applaud them and all that kind of thing. So there should be a paddock in front of the stands at Lingfield, and Lingfield have said they would do it, but they haven't. Southwell and Wolverhampton and these kind of places. The great thing was Stan Clark, the late Stan Clark, remember, who took over it for Newcastle, Northern Racing for Newcastle, Chepstow as well, Doncaster. They brought the paddock in front of the stands. And it makes a huge difference. So two things I do. I'd look at admission charges. Well, all admission charges you could say, and lovely to bring them down if you could. You could say all-weather, isn't it better if they all-weather, there was free entry. It's easy for me to say that because I don't run the economics of racecourses, but what I would like to see is for the under-21s and the pensioners and probably the old weather as well, make them absolutely free. Let's get people to enjoy racing, to come racing more often, encourage them to do so, and then give them the whole show right in front of the stands. They haven't got to go on treks, because nobody, virtually, unless you're a supreme athlete, can see all parts of the horses coming into the paddock, parading round, going down to the start, the race itself, coming back, can't see everything, and then for the presentations, you want to bring the show to people. So there are two reforms I would bring in. And Leslie, as for my favourite racecourse, well, I'd say if anybody wanted to go racing and could only go once, the Cheltenham Festival, isn't it? I love jump racing, prefer jump racing to the flat, and jump racing all climaxes at Cheltenham. People say it's almost built up too much Cheltenham in March, that the whole season is sort of based and focuses too much on that. That's a separate issue. But the atmosphere, the anticipation, the build-up, there's nothing like Cheltenham. The great amphitheatre it is, the arena, you can see everything. It is the most thrilling racing spectacle we have. So I say to anybody, if you haven't been racing or you want to go racing for the great experience you could have, I would certainly say Cheltenham at the festival in March, unbelievable. And it's so thrilling to be part of it. Try and get there if you can at least once in your life.
John Maloney on Facebook asks, who's going to replace Hurricane Fly?
John, I just wish I knew. It's longevity, isn't it? So they've got to build up. Hurricane Fly went in, year out. When 21-22 Group 1 races, Grade 1 races he won. So it is, you've got to do it for a time. So who's going to be the future champions? Well, you can argue that, and horses are going to build up a record. They've got to stay sound. The training has got to be absolutely perfection, as it was for Hurricane Fly, to keep the old boy going. It's got to be horses not flamboyant, as I think it's far harder for horses who take so much more out of themselves during a race than Hurricane Fly did. But Hurricane Fly only became recognised as a real legendary horse very near the end of his career. He wins a couple of champion hurdles, and people virtually ignore that at Cheltenham. And his record, of course, at Leopardstown, fantastic. Whether we will ever see another Hurricane Fly, as far as the records books goes, it's very difficult to keep a horse going for season after season, keeping them sound and able in the very top class to go and win. So his record, I don't say it's like A.P. McCoy's. His 20 championships will never be beaten, not just in our lifetime, in 10,000 years. No jockey will ever be champion jockey 20 consecutive years, never. So that you can say with some assurance, and I'll be long dead by the time somebody comes along and does it. But for Hurricane Fly, it's hard to see how any horse will be able to match that record in the very top class over the period of time that he did. But keep coming racing, keep enjoying the sport. Maybe once again we will see another Hurricane Fly. And let's hope this time, if and when he or she, horse of course, if mare comes along, we recognise them earlier in their winning status, and not sort of treat them as just another horse as Hurricane Fly was treated for so long. He wasn't spectacular, didn't win by great distances, he wasn't flamboyant, but in the end the public just fell in love with him because of his record. So there may be a Hurricane Fly out there now, I doubt it, but keep watching, maybe there will be, and you can go and cheer them as well yourself. Next question, come on, Booby.
Third question, Ali on Twitter asks, when are you going to take over the TOON?
Ali, how right you are. I think this has been a campaign that's been really building up. I think I should be director of football. That's what I should be. So I should be there making all the decisions, helping. I think Alan Shearer should be the manager. He's got a great sort of reputation up in the TOON. All right, he was partially responsible when we went down 2 or 3 years ago. But Alan Shearer and I think, would work together. I would bring the sound common sense to it. He knows a little bit more about football than I do. So Alan Shearer as manager, myself as director of football, I'd be fantastic in the dugout. I'd like to be there hauling these bad players off. And the crowd need me. The TOON are demanding it. So it's only a question of time that Mike Ashley turns to the saviour. That's me. Going up to the TOON, imagine what a welcome I would get. I must tell you this very quick story, which I've done often before, and I hope I haven't done it on Our Speak Map, but I'll just tell you very quickly again. I was at Highbury a few years ago, the TOON against Arsenal, and we went in a box and had a very large dinner and drinking a bit and all that thing. And about an hour and a half before the game, went out just on the balcony and looked down, and below there were 2,000 or 3,000 TOON fans who had been let into the ground early. And one or two turned around and they recognised me, and they all started singing, and there's only one John McCririck, there's only one John McCririck. And I thought, oh, this is wonderful. My people, they recognise me, they realise that greatness is amongst them, and I was bowing to them, and I say, yes, yes, my people, we will do, yes, just rely on me. And I was acknowledging them, and they were cheering and shouting. And clearly then, they obviously think that I'm wealthy, because the crowd almost in unison took up the cry, and he's a wank. No, he's a banker, they said. And he's a banker, there's only one John McCririck, he's a banker. It did begin with B, not W. I'm maintaining anyway. Right, that's that. So thank you all for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and keep sending in your questions on Twitter @RealMcCririck and Facebook /RealMcCririck by adding hashtag AskBigMcCririck. Now, if I didn't answer your question this week, it might be next week, it might be sometime, might be probably never, unfortunately, but keep sending them in. Get them in now. Away the lads!